podcast all about anxiety, depression, and being incredibly ungrateful. It's my fucking microphone. Y'all, I'm sorry. It's a little bit of a hot mess today just because that's who I am. Okay, microphone, we're good. For non-podcasters out there, you may not know that microphones can be a little bit finicky. And if you have a microphone you're using that's like the classic karaoke microphone you're used to seeing, it can start falling and stuff. And I've apparently not professionally set this up. I'm sorry. This is the production level of Angus IT. Okay, I think we're good. Whatever. Fuck it. This also... God fucking damn it. Okay, we're good. Jesus Christ. I'm sorry, y'all. This kind of fits in with my sassy mood, I guess, for this episode. Look, I really do believe in gratitude. I think it's important to be thankful for what we have in our lives. I think that positive thinking really can change our mood and how we approach things. I am a big proponent of these thoughts, okay? But that is not what today's episode is about. Today we're being ungrateful motherfucking bitches and we're about to complain about some shit because it's 2020 and we need to exercise the fuck out of this year. Right. So I have decided to make a thank you next list for things that just piss me off. They might be 2020 related. They might just be life related. And I think you should still seek out other sources that have the positive thinking. But if you just need a dash of fuckery, of fuck this, fuck everything, fuck everyone this Thanksgiving season, then welcome. Please grab your favorite cocktail, pull up, sit on your couch, and probably just eat yourself through a bag of chips as we go through this lovely journey of my podcast episode. Full disclosure, it's probably apparent I'm on beer number 2 because the fucks given right now are 0, which is perfect for this episode. So thank you next. Let's get on with the program. Every time I say program, I think of PBS. I am not PBS. I am not at that level. Again, you heard at the beginning, I'm not professional enough. I am shocked I still have a podcast after all this time. Thank you for listening, especially this month when I've just kind of disappeared. I will sidetrack from my main topic of discussion because that's what I do. This is what you came for, right? I did finally complete the Christmas special manuscript that has been on my mind and weighing on me. And obviously I've been skipping episodes this month, so apologies, but it's done. And I have the recording date set for all of my voice talent. So it's like, holy hell, it's happening. And I feel a big release. I feel like a burden has been lifted from my shoulders. And that is why I am feeling so holly jolly to complain about shit now. That's how I turn my positivity into. Okay, we'll actually start for real now. Okay, my first beef, thank you next, is low-fat hot chocolate. Y'all, I get it. You want to keep your figure during the holiday season that's filled with sugar cookies. It's filled with gingerbread houses, pumpkin pies, bourbon balls, all of these delightful things. And so you might think, okay, I'll just get some low-fat hot chocolate and call it a fucking day. Okay? No. Low-fat hot chocolate is still unhealthy. Dare I say possibly more unhealthy than hot chocolate because they've had to manipulate the hot chocolate so that it has lower fat. It's not worth it. If you're gonna do the damn thing, do it all the way, guys, okay? Low-fat hot chocolate, it's not gonna taste as good. And you're not gonna, lose 3 pounds on it. Just lean into it. Accept it. You deserve it. Just enjoy it for what it is. I think there's a lot of things that claim to be low-fat that end up just being high in sugar, and it's not worth it in the end. Just accept that you want the fucking thing and enjoy it. To me, this is more of an issue of believing in yourself than necessarily a problem about our processed foods. Actually, it's equal. I take it back. But again, I think that this stems from a bigger idea I have, that food should not be a reward and it should not be a punishment. And I think that if you restrict yourself, and again, this is personal thinking, I'm not a professional, don't listen to me or listen to me, up to you. But I think that you should not deny yourself things for the sake of thinking you're working towards something. That was probably a very vague sentence, but mostly what I mean is if you're having the low-fat hot chocolate, it means you want hot chocolate. And I think you should just go for it. Like I said, at the end of the day, it's still hot chocolate. So to me, I am offended that low-fat hot chocolate exists, and I think that we should all reclaim our freedom and body positivity and just go fucking high fat and live it up. Thank you. Okay, next. This is a very personal one for me. My parents are canceling their Netflix subscription. Okay, I get it. I'm 26 years old. I don't need to fucking mooch off my parents anymore. But like, goddamn, that was my Netflix hookup. How else am I supposed to watch Nailed It, the failed baking show that I relate so hardcore to my soul because I fail at baking all the time? Or things like The Crown, which I mean to keep watching. People keep saying, Elaine, this is your show, but I haven't gotten around to it. But maybe I would have gotten around to it, parents, if you hadn't canceled it. What about all the new movies coming out? What am I going to do? Okay, and I get it, parents. You said that you weren't watching Netflix as much. You weren't really using the account, but like, what am I to do? I get it. You raised me. You helped me get through college, but how dare you get rid of Netflix? I don't know what I'm going to do. So I asked this is a funny thing. I asked my dad to give me a heads up if he was going to cancel it because he has been talking about this for a few months. And so I asked him, hey, if you're going to do it, can you give me a heads up so I can make sure I finish up any shows I'm in the middle of? Like, I don't want to be, left on a cliffhanger or anything. And he's like, sure. So he gave me the heads up. My brother secretly also uses the Netflix account. Now, I say secretly because you can make multiple profiles within Netflix. And so there's my parents' profile and then just mine. I'm the only person that has the second one, but my brother uses that as well, which I also have qualms with, okay? Brother Best has different movie tastes and show tastes than I do, which then affects the recommendations we receive. And so we go from mushy rom-coms to giant war films, super depressing shit, and it's hard to say who is watching both, just to throw that out there. So everything's fucked up, and part of me is ashamed by my Netflix watch history, and so my brother gets to see it, and it's just a lot. But the funny thing here is, I don't know if my brother has been told that the Netflix subscription is being canceled. And so I have this devious plan where he doesn't know, and he's in the middle of something, and he doesn't get to finish it. And that's when I get to go to him and go, hey, do you want to split a Netflix subscription? And so we can lower the price. Otherwise, he's the kind of guy, let me explain my brother. He was the kind of guy where he moved into his first apartment and he saves money like a little Scrooge. And he just didn't have a bed for months. He slept on a cot, a camping cot, to save money. Okay? He could have had a bed. This was a choice that this man made, okay? So that's why I feel like I have to be a little devious about it to trick him into it. I don't know if he listens to this podcast. It's hard to say. But if you are, Henry, just go in on it with me, okay? And just please, if we do, create your own separate profile. Stay away. Let me have my awful rom-com TV shows, teenage movies, which is sad. I'm 26. Like, that time has passed. I need to accept what my reality is. My reality is I'm sitting at home and people in prison are able to get married and I'm just here with my dog, which I'm not mad about. But I'm not drinking low-fat hot chocolate. You can best believe that. Okay. So my parents are canceling Netflix. I'm accepting it. I will say I've been very fortunate in my life. I've gotten to mooch off of a lot of other people's streaming accounts, and it's my time. It's my time to get one and share it. So that's my deal. I accept it. I'm still sad, though. And especially, it cancels on December 10th. That's just enough to tease me. Dolly Parton's other special, I think, releases on the 6th of December. I don't know. I hope I have enough time. Oh, which leads me to my next thing. Okay, thank you next to people who claim to be obsessed with Dolly Parton, but I'm pretty sure it's just because she's become mainstream.
You redheaded hussy.
This is a very hipster, angsty thing I'm claiming, but look, I love Dolly Parton, And I totally am okay with other people loving Dolly Parton. They can love her, if they just figured out about her a month ago. Like, I'm all for it. But like, when I say I've been with it with Dolly Parton, as a child in the 90s, I had her cassette tapes and I listened to them all the time. Okay? Like, this has been a thing. Like, in middle school, we got to do a project about an artist we loved. And I said Dolly Parton, and kids laughed at me and made fun of me. I went through persecution to talk about my idol, Dolly Parton. So when I say I love Dolly Parton, I'm not fucking around. I guess part of me is like, how dare you suggest that you're the biggest Dolly Parton fan when you haven't been there? Now, look, I go back and forth, as you heard earlier, because I think that maybe love can't be quantified by time. How many people do we know are in relationships forever, but they're not filled with love? But then how many people do we see have a whirlwind romance and it's fine? I think that's, I am comparing my love for Dolly Parton to these kind of relationships. So I guess that's just more food for thought about that. But I guess I don't know my final end thought because I don't want to be a dick, because I definitely have hopped on the bandwagon of a few things and been very late to the game, but was very excited. So I guess I'm all for people loving Dolly, but I just want to say I loved her first and I was better at it. But I also was a child, so I'm sure people who were adults, and they're probably going to be like, fuck you, I watched her on television singing live. In which case, point taken. Okay, next fucking thank you next 2020, Maskne. Fucking rude. If you don't know what Maskne is, it's when you wear your goddamn mask as you should during a global pandemic, but you get some acne from it, okay? The sweat of your mask. You get a weird breakout, and it's weird because it follows the outline of your mask. It's like getting one of those Civil War beards, but pimples. And I think it's fucking rude because I would like to be rewarded for wearing my mask. Not that I should be rewarded. That should just be a fucking baseline. But sure, reward me. And like, what if I just got free contouring? What if something else happened? Why do I need to get fucking Maskne? I guess no one would see it because I'm wearing the mask, but like, Zoom calls have just become such a big thing. And yeah, I've got the beauty filter on. People, this is a fun sidetrack, okay? So if you don't know, if you're not using Zoom, there is a filter called the beauty filter, and it just kind of like smudges some things out. So your face is just a little more smooth. And this is great if you, I don't know, wake up 5 minutes before your morning meeting and you're a hot mess. It just kind of goes, oh, she didn't get 3 hours of sleep last night because she was panicking. Oh no, she looks just fine. So hot tip, I would highly recommend using that. But I digress. I have a lot of people lately been commenting on my appearance and being like, oh my gosh, you look gorgeous and you look beautiful. And like, sure, I put on lipstick, but it feels false. I feel like these end up being false compliments because they're complimenting something that doesn't actually exist. This is also how I feel about selfies lately. I've been trying to up my selfie game because I thought it would like boost my self-confidence because I've had a thing where I'm like, I don't want to show photos of me. And I'm like, oh, fuck it, do it. But then you get compliments and you're like, well, thank you. But also I contorted myself and took many, many, many photos before I actually hit this one position. So if you compliment me on this, I actually sometimes feel worse because that's not what I look like. That was a further rant than I meant to go into. Back to Maskne. I guess it's a sign. It's like a warrior sign, right? It's like your paint for battle. It shows that you have cared about other people's health, but I just think it's fucking rude. I think it shouldn't exist. A hot take, I know. But thank you next, fucking Maskne. Okay, let's enter this fuckery, shall we? Look, I'm a basic bitch. I love Hallmark holiday movies. They don't require a lot of thinking. They're cozy. Bunch of white ladies wearing sweaters by a fireplace, okay? It's a mood, it's a vibe. But they're not like cinematic masterpieces. They're not fantastic. They don't pretend to be that, but they're not something that I would say have strong storylines to then have sequels. Okay, and that's my fucking beef. So I'm mostly talking about Netflix. which I only have a few days left to really discuss, but they have some Hallmark-esque movies that they have decided needed sequels, and dare I say, a trilogy. They do not need it. They should not exist. Just make a new fucking movie, because having a sequel to an already shit movie, let's be real, is pushing it. You're pushing it. Like, you should be honored I went through the movie the first time and enjoyed it with my high-fat hot chocolate, but don't you dare get the same actors and try to push the same plot, but with a different flair. Your plot was already used and unoriginal because it's a Christmas movie. This is the plot of every Hallmark-esque movie. You ready? One character has been displaced from their city life and is now either entering the country or a rural town or a small town. It may or may not be their hometown. There is a big Christmas event that is coming up that they will then have to endure and figure out how to deal with. But in the meantime, there is their love interest, who is an obstacle to this, be it a positive or negative obstacle to the Christmas holiday event. There is much shenanigans. They definitely fall in like with each other, but then a secret comes out, a mystery, and things are really turned down, and it seems like a really sad Christmas is about to occur. But then the event is about to happen, and suddenly the person in like appears, and they profess their love to each other, and it happens in the span of a week. That is the plot of all of these movies. Personal sequels I am offended by is A Christmas Prince. To be fair, I never bothered watching the first one. That is how sassy I feel about it. And they have fucking 3 movies at this point. She was a Christmas princess, and there was a Christmas princess wedding, I think, and now a Christmas fucking baby. What is so intriguing about that plot line that it deserves 3 movies? There's so many movies I love that should get sequels, and they just won't. Okay? Why this? Why this, Netflix? A Princess Switch starring Vanessa Hudgens? A jolly enough movie, the first time watch, but they just created a sequel. Unfucking necessary. Unnecessary. Not needed. Don't care about it. Why? How dare you? How dare you? So let me know if you like the sequels of these movies, but I just think I would like the budget to have gone somewhere else. Not that I will be able to comment about the other projects Netflix will be creating, because I will not have an account. Okay, let it go, Elaine. Let it go. Next, thank you, next motherfucking item I'm very passionate about. Okay, Elf on a Shelf. I do not like puppets or dolls. So I think that's where a lot of this animosity comes from. And I understand that some children will have grown up with this book. I didn't. This came out when I was an adult, or at least a late teen. And it's horrifying. I don't like the idea that this elf is up to mischief and just appears in places each day. Like, as a child, that would have terrified me, because I would have thought the elf was real. The elf was alive. And that would have meant that dolls come to life at night. And that's just something that should not be happening. That's a horror film, okay? Elf on a Shelf, to me, is, it rhymes. Good for you. I think beyond that, no. It doesn't need to be a thing. Maybe that's me being bitter and, I guess, hypothetically old at this point, even though I am in my youth. I just don't get it. I think it's creepy. Now, I always think about this. Now, I don't think I'm someone who, actively wants kids. I feel like it'll happen to me, which I highly enjoy that I've just said that. And if I have any offspring, they may listen to this one day. I'm sorry. But it's not something, I'm seeking in life. It's not a life goal of mine. But, if I end up with a child and I do Elf on a Shelf, it will be me giving up a part of myself. It'll be me compromising. And I just don't see that being a Merry Christmas. I would probably do awful things with Elf on a Shelf. I think Elf on the Shelf would accidentally end up in the fireplace. Elf on a Shelf would accidentally end up sucked in the vacuum. And that's where you would find the Elf on the Shelf. Maybe the Elf on the Shelf would accidentally get a little ride in the dryer. I don't know. And I just, part of me would really love that to be the personal experience I put a child through. That would be traumatizing, though, so maybe not. But the concept of Elf on the Shelf to me is just, it's so much work for a parent. They already want advent calendars. They're already asking Santa for things and you have to fulfill it. Otherwise, they just lose the magic of Santa. And then maybe you're having the moral issue too of like, should I tell my child that Santa isn't real? Do I keep that to myself? I don't know. I don't have the answers to that. But I will say that I think the tradition of Elf on a Shelf should be canceled unless you're going to be incredibly extra with it, with the examples I provided earlier. If you will be doing so, please send me pictures. Give me some life. Okay? Beautiful. Next thing. This is a hot take. And I honestly didn't realize it was a hot take that I had until this Thanksgiving. And my hot take is that turkey is overrated. When I go to a Thanksgiving dinner, I get a little bit of turkey. And I love turkey, just to be clear. I eat turkey. I'm all about it, okay? But I don't get excited about turkey when I go to Thanksgiving. I get excited about the fucking sides. Casseroles galore, cheese, even the cranberry shit that comes out of a can. Like, there's just so much more excitement with the sides and variety. And they're the kind of sides that for some reason you don't get at any other holiday. Maybe Christmas, but those sides are so specific to the holiday. And turkey happens a lot. Like, I get turkey sandwiches, okay? It's not as special, I would say. And so this awful rush everyone has to do to get their butterball turkey, and then the 12-hour fucking process to cook that turkey. It's like, is it worth it in the end? You're gonna have like 3 weeks of leftovers of this goddamn turkey because people aren't going to gobble it up. See what I did there? I feel like there's just so much pressure to provide a turkey, and I feel the same way about a ham. I mean, and I'm not a big ham person anyway, so I don't know. Now, here's what I'm going to fucking say. A roast beef? Fuck me up. I love a goddamn roast beef. Like a legit roasted beast provided on a plate. My mouth is watering thinking about it. That shit is worth it. And I look forward to that. That's what my family serves at Christmas. So that's the shit I get excited about. But turkey, I don't know. Like, white meat turkey kind of tastes like nothing. It's more of like a weird texture, which kind of feels like a bird is petting your tongue. That's how I feel about turkey. So I think it's a little overrated, and I think that there's so much pressure to put a turkey on. So bleeding into kind of some of my next thing, I think there's a big stigma about people not doing the holidays with a ton of people, and I get that can look depressing, and sometimes it is sad, especially during COVID, where a lot of people may have wanted to go to a family Thanksgiving and now they can't. Like, I totally feel for you. I have ended up doing a solo Thanksgiving. I'll be able to see a few friends throughout the week, but I just decided my options. I just felt like there was too much of a risk for me being the outlier person from wherever I am, interloping with other people. I didn't want to be the reason that people got COVID. So I'm actually doing a solo Thanksgiving, and I bought a 3-pound turkey. And I bought all these other things, and I'm going to try to cook myself an extravagant Thanksgiving dinner. And it's horrifying because I don't cook. I can barely bake. It's horrifying all around, and I have now tasked myself with somehow cooking a turkey, and I get it. It is only 3 pounds, but just please know it's 3 pounds that I've been carrying now for a whole week, and it feels like it's become 60. So I will definitely keep you posted on how that goes. But I just want to circle back to the idea of maybe you want to spend the holidays alone, or, you know, maybe you're just not really into spending the Thanksgiving with certain people in your life. I know a lot of people may have family issues, and sometimes it's harmful for people to be around those situations, especially for the holidays. And I think that it's hard to say no to those things, but I think it's important to keep your mental health front of mind. You know, like to go to a dinner where you may feel like you're just getting beat up the whole time, or whatever your situation may be, it might not be worth it. And there is such a huge push on family. And again, this is just my personal opinion. that I think that we lose sight of. Maybe it doesn't have to be that way. Just because other people say that's what works for them and how it's been, that doesn't mean it has to work for you. You know, you can have your chosen family. You can want to keep it chill. You maybe want to do a Friendsgiving, you know, whatever you want. I just want to take away the shame of doing your own thing for the holidays. Even if it breaks tradition. I just think we should let people live their best lives. Okay, my last thank you next. It is going to be irrelevant by the time this episode releases, but early Black Friday. Okay, not Black Friday, the official day where everyone loses their mind and spends all their money on things that they probably wouldn't have gotten anyway, but the enticing discount fills up their carts and goes to town. I say this from personal experience, and I'm ready to blow all my money to buy clothes that are the same exact fucking thing I own. I just want more of them. And there's no point in me getting it, but sure, I'm going to buy it. But early Black Friday happens like a week before, sometimes a month before actual Black Friday. And these companies are like, oh, 20% off this. And I'm like, what are you doing? Why are we doing this earlier? Like, you're either going to have the same discount on Black Friday or a bigger one. And so it's all this trap to just get people to keep spending money on things that are discounted. And they want to build up the hype of like, oh, this is your only chance to get this because on Black Friday it'll be gone. And yes, Black Friday is savage. It'll be a lot to deal with. But I just hate this idea of early Black Friday. Just call it something else. Just call November Discount November or something. But just stop with the mania. And I know a lot of people don't like the idea that Thanksgiving kind of gets blown over, or we're just becoming very consumer based when around all these holidays and everything. And, you know, part of me agrees. I think that it can be very annoying that a lot of things just turn into, I am selling this for very cheap and you should just focus on that. The other part of me is incredibly excited. It's like a little holiday to me on its own. I think it's fun. It's honestly when I get everyone's Christmas presents because I can actually afford shit at that point. And I've actually had highly entertainable moments with some of my closest friends when we go to Black Friday events. My friend Amber and I, we hit up Kohl's. Like majority of the Black Fridays, we hit up Kohl's. And it's a fucking blast. I get slippers. I get fuzzy socks. I get dresses. It's just a good time. So to me, they're actually really fun memories. It's like you're on a reality show, whatever that one is called, where you like do the shopping spree through the grocery store. You got to see how much you can fill up your cart with. Like that's kind of what it feels like. Now I'm not into stampedes. Every time I've done Black Friday in person, I go in the afternoon and just deal with whatever's left. But to me, there is a glee, and maybe capitalism wins at that point, in which case I flip-flop. I don't know. But I am a fucking against early Black Friday. I think it's ridiculous. I think that they just think we're all stupid and we won't see what they're doing. And it's like each passing year, they're just finding a way to make it earlier and earlier. And it's like, it's not, you can't trick me. Like, I know you're going to have better deals on Black Friday. So why would I buy it now to then spend more money with you? Have I fallen prey to this already? I plead the fifth, and I will not discuss it with you. Well, there you have it. That's my beef. Those are all my thank you nexts for 2020. Thanksgiving is a time where we've turned the holiday to focus more on gratitude. We've gone away from the not so great origins of this holiday, which we'll take it, I guess. That's at least some good progress, I guess. But I will say, please, again, positive thinking is beautiful, but I think it is so healthy to let it out sometimes. So if you have a thank you next, make a list, burn it, call it a day. I would actually love to hear your thank you next list, which you can do at my socials at AngusIT on Twitter and Instagram. My DMs are always open. I love talking to you guys. Y'all are hilarious and you have great insight. And it's a blast talking to the Heifers. You can also go to my website, www.angusit.com. I'll have show notes galore ready for you. Hypothetically, I've fallen off the train in November, but my November has been chaotic. My apologies. If you feel fancy, you can email me at angusit@gmail.com. And with that, I really hope that you reach the point where your Thanksgiving is so delightful They eat so much that you feel awful and you sit on the floor and you wait for someone to bring you a Tums. That is not a personal anecdote. Please stop looking at me. How dare you even suggest that that has happened to me multiple times. Multiple times. So many times. I hope you guys do have a lovely Thanksgiving, and I will talk to you next week or in the next episode. We'll just fucking see what happens. Bye, Heifers.